Welcome to the Annie Jennings PR Real Stories of Success podcast series. Annie Jennings is the creator of the famous performance publicity campaign for bookings on TV shows, in print media, and in prestigious online media outlets. Annie also offers the top radio talk show campaign in the country, which includes bookings on high-impact radio shows in top markets, as well as unlimited media training and guaranteed deliverables. My name is Stacey Amaral Kaufman. I'm the radio director for Annie Jennings PR. Today, we're sharing another real story of success to give listeners an inside look into what it's like to work with Annie Jennings PR. And joining us today is New York Times and Wall Street Journal bestselling author Weldon Long, MBA. Weldon worked with us on his latest book, Consistency Selling, doing both the top market national radio campaign and the performance publicity campaign. Bookings included Harvard Business Report, Entrepreneur, Arianna Huffington's Thrive Global, MSNBC TV, The Globe and Mail, Dow Jones Moneyish, and more. And during his radio campaign, Weldon was heard on over 1,000 stations via major national shows and top market interviews. So welcome, Weldon.
Stacey, thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
We're happy to have you. Now, you just heard me mention all of those fantastic placements, those wonderful media brands that you're now able to leverage and align yourself with. And we were talking before about how all of these bookings have really helped you in your business. Can you tell our listeners just how that happened?
Absolutely. So much of our credibility these days with social media and the internet, it comes down to what people see when they check us out. And I encourage, I'm a writer and a speaker, I do consulting, and I always encourage people in my business to get as much media as they can, whether it's national, regional, whatever, because it gives us so much credibility. The ones you just listed in the introduction there, if you go to my website, weldonlong.com, you're going to see those video clips, you're going to see those links to all those articles, because they give so much credibility. For me as a business writer and a business speaker, being published, you guys got me an Entrepreneur magazine twice and the Harvard Business Review once. I mean, that's some serious chops, in terms of being a business speaker. So I really encourage people to get that stuff and, leverage it. It's about the credibility that comes with that kind of media exposure.
And I know you said that you had another opportunity that came your way as well from your appearance on national television.
Yeah, you guys got me booked on a show on MSNBC called Your Business. And ironically, I was a huge fan of the show. I watched it every week, and it came on for years and years on Saturday and Sunday mornings. J.J. Ramberg was the host. And when I did the interview on that, it wasn't long after that, just that next week, we got a call from ASCAP, which is the music licensing company, and they contacted us about doing some sales training and some speaking for their sales team across the country. So, that's just the obvious implications, but, how many indirect opportunities we got from that is just hard to tell. But there's a definite relationship between that kind of exposure and the business opportunities.
Now, Weldon, how did you find out about Annie Jennings PR, and what did you initially like about our firm?
Yeah, this is actually the second time that I've worked with you guys. I worked with you guys on a previous book that I wrote called The Upside of Fear, and that's when I first stumbled into your agency, and I was just Googling PR firms, and, you think PR, you think New York, New Jersey. So I started searching New York, and, it's hard to separate what's fact from fiction out there. And so I came across you guys, but the thing that really hooked me with you guys was the basic, it's the flat rate fee. Like, we do this and you pay this. I had worked with other PR agencies that charged me a monthly retainer, in excess of $20,000 and $30,000 a month one time. And there's really no guarantee of what you're going to get. They say, we're going to work on your behalf. And of course they do, but they're not obligated really to deliver anything. And with you guys, it's like, let's put it out there. We're going to book you, in this media, that media, et cetera. And we're going to bill you as we book it. And to me, that was the credibility. I did the same thing in my business with my clients. I would deliver these results and you pay me this much money. So that really resonated with me, and I think it goes to the integrity with which you guys conduct your business and the expertise and skill that you bring to the table, because you guys put your money where your mouth is, but you put your work where the money is, right? You don't ask for the handout and say, we'll do our best. You say, we're going to bring you this, and you're going to pay us this. It's that kind of reliability that I needed in terms of spending that kind of marketing money.
And what would you say about working with the publicity team here? Where Sarah, of course, your performance publicist, who was able to get you the Harvard Business Review and all those wonderful placements we mentioned earlier. Did you enjoy kind of the hands-on working together, the crafting of the pitches, and just the overall experience?
Yeah, it was really good. And I'll tell you, especially what I enjoyed is that, when I would have my own twist, like maybe we could position me this way or that way. And, she was always really receptive to that. And we would craft, kind of a position for a particular story together. And there were times where she came to me with ideas that I didn't. I'm like, I don't want to be positioned this way or that way. And, we would work on something different together. So it was a total, collaborative effort that I was allowed to have my input and to craft the message and position me, certain ways depending on the story. And so that was always just a very pleasant experience. I didn't feel like you guys were like trying to shoehorn me into different interviews. You guys wanted to make sure that it was relevant to my business.
And thinking about your overall experience, like you said, this is your second go around in working with us. If you were talking to somebody who is thinking of working with Annie Jennings PR, what would you say to them?
I would say 100% do it. I mean, the results are guaranteed. And there's not many guarantees in life, especially in the public relations business, because people want the retainer and they will do their best, and I'm sure they do, but there's no guarantees. With your firm, it's a guaranteed deal, and in fact, you mentioned the Harvard Business Report article. That took a couple of months from the time you guys started working it, and I wrote the article and the editing process, and you guys did not bill me for that until after the article was published. That, to me, is what it's all about. That's good business. It's business you can count on. It's exposure you can count on. And I would just tell anybody, don't spend money on something that's uncertain, not when it comes to something that's kind of, nebulous as public relations. You got to have, demonstrable, verifiable return for the dollars you spend. And that's what you're going to get with Annie Jennings.
All right, Weldon. Well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your experience. I want to tell everyone listening that you can learn more about Weldon Long, his books, and speaking services. You can see how he's leveraged his media all on his website, which is weldonlong.com. Weldon, thank you again.
Thank you as well. It's been a lot of fun.
And this podcast is presented by Annie Jennings of the national publicity firm Annie Jennings PR. For more information on how you, too, can experience national media success and guarantee deliverables, please visit AnnieJenningsPR.com.